I am doing a quick live. We'll see if anyone comes on. If people come on, guys, I'm going to answer questions about quitting weed and quitting nicotine. If no one comes on, just so you guys know, you can watch any of my videos, check out the video descriptions, check out the pinned comments. You can find free courses on quitting. You can find group coaching, and you can find links to talk to me one-on-one if you need to. Now, we'll see if anyone comes on to this broadcast. And if they don't, then this is going to be a very, very quick video. And I would advise that you go check out the links in the video descriptions on the Addiction Mindset YouTube channel and the pinned comments. All right, we got one person in here. That's always exciting. What's up, Red? Red, it's just you and me right now. So if you got questions for me, feel free to ask and I'll be happy to answer them. Just ask away. It's just you. So you got my full attention. Well, I guess there's 5 people in here now. So I'm not really. What's up, Allison? How are you doing? How are you? How are you? You guys just ask questions if you have them. I don't really have an agenda on what I'm talking about tonight. But, if you guys need help quitting weed or quitting nicotine or anything like that, just ask. Jake, what's up? Dylan, what's up? Oh, thanks, Allison. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I'm doing good. It's very windy here. I might lose power soon, but we'll see. Time will tell. But otherwise, I'm just chilling. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Today has been a good day. Very, very productive day. Very busy day, but productive day. People that do smoke and vape. Ellison, I'll say something for that. I think a lot of people ask me, Ellison, how can I get my friends to quit? How can I get my friends to stop? And I think the only way to really do that is to continue to be an example for them. So big props to you for not smoking and vaping. And Ellison, I guess I'll ask you a question while we're on here. Why don't you? I'd be curious to hear, like, I always want to hear from people. Why don't you smoke? Why don't you vape? How did you not get sucked into that? Because I got sucked into that pretty hardcore at one point in my life. So I'd love to hear how you avoided that. That would be interesting to me. Like, I always wonder, why don't people get into those things? You hate it. Well, that's a really simple explanation as to why. Then that makes a lot of sense. The sad thing is, it's ironic, Allison, once the addiction takes over, when it comes to nicotine or whatever it is, even the people doing it start to hate it. And that's the one thing that we don't talk about enough. A lot of people will see people smoking, vaping, whatever, and they think, oh, there's some benefit there. Oh, that looks appealing. But a lot of people, unfortunately, they're stuck in a situation that they hate, that they don't want to be in. What's the best advice for constant relapse on nicotine? It's been going for over 4 years straight. Well, that's kind of a tough question. Why do you keep relapsing? The first thing is, you would have to start to identify why you're relapsing. My other question would be, is what's the longest you've ever gone without nicotine? Have you ever hit that 90-day mark? Have you ever hit that 1-year mark without nicotine? Because it's around those times where where your brain will actually change. If you don't get to those crucial points, I think the chances of relapse is very, very high. The bottom line for relapsing, though, is identify why it happens, identify the different situations that caused it, and then come up with a plan to avoid it in the future. If you know why you keep relapsing and you're not coming up with a plan to avoid it in the future, let's say like an argument happens or you become stressed and then you relapse, well, you got to find a different way to manage that stress. So Jake, I would say too, my man, so you've gone 1 week. So I would tell you 1 week is very, very early on. So at that point, chances are you're relapsing due to cravings or withdrawal symptoms. And the reality is you just have to get through those things. You can't try and fight those things. The more you try and fight the withdrawals, the more you try and argue with a craving in your head, the higher the chances of relapse are going to be. But Jake, you really should set a goal for yourself to get to 2 weeks, 1 month, 3 months. A lot of people, once they hit that 3-month mark, there's not much looking back. My other advice for you, Jake, would be you have to start to realize that there's no benefit to what you're doing. Like if you're truly stuck in an addiction, there's no longer benefit, there's no longer joy. But my guess is, for one reason or another, your brain still perceives that there's some benefit, that there's some joy in the activity. So you really have to work to let go of that and dismantle that thought process. Otherwise, I think quitting for good is going to be very, very hard. Thank you, Sam Wick Fitness. I really appreciate that. Since 2K, I really appreciate that. Thank you. My family was very strict. That makes a lot of sense, Allison. 11 days and still sweaty all the time. Mood swings are killing me. I'm guessing that you're talking about withdrawing from weed. And yes, 11 days, still early on in the process. I understand that the mood swings can be tough. I personally dealt with those things by diving more into exercise. And every time I was feeling moody, frustrated, especially early on in my recovery process, that's when I started to put my efforts into a hobby, into something to take my mind off of it, or just into something even mindless, watching TV, reading a book, something that didn't require too much thinking. Because if I started to take on a really hard task when I was quitting weed, I would become very frustrated, like more frustrated. And oftentimes that would lead to relapse. But 11 days, big congratulations, big props on that. It'll get better, bro. You're through the worst of it. That's very true. You really are getting through the worst of it at that time. Exercise is great. 12 days sober, Dylan, was suffering with CHS for over a year, smoking through the vomiting. I'm feeling way better than I ever thought I would. Congratulations. That's what it's all about, man. It's really bad when we're going through CHS, and I remember going through cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome. There was points where I felt like, wow, is it going to be this way for the rest of my life? Like, did I permanently screw myself over? Did I permanently screw myself up? And I love your comment that it does get better, because it's so important that people know that, who are struggling. You know, I always say the withdrawals and the suffering that you experience when you quit an addiction is temporary. There is a clear end in sight. This process will end. But when you are remaining in active addiction, there's no end to that. That can continue on for forever, for the foreseeable future. So one of the things I tell people about withdrawals is just keep in mind there's a clear, definitive end to this. This pain and suffering will end, but the pain and suffering that comes along with addiction could be an endless amount of time, an endless amount of time. Irritability. It feels like every little thing upsets me. Well, PK Red Goop 89, I would tell you that when it comes to irritability from quitting, I think there's there's a few different things. You're irritable for a few reasons. One, there's dopamine deficiency going on when you quit an addiction. There's your serotonin levels are messed up, your blood sugar levels are messed up. So all of those things are going to make you more irritable just on a physiological standpoint. So my thing was really approaching it from a lifestyle factor. I stopped drinking caffeine. I focused on getting a good night's sleep. I started to partake in activities that brought me joy, that brought me a true sense of joy, whether that be a hobby, a relationship, shooting YouTube videos, whatever made me happy. I started to pursue those activities more, combined with eating healthier, not drinking caffeine, sleeping better. And I did a ton of talk therapy. I went through a ton of talk therapy to process those emotions of irritability and anger. Right? It's like that crazy fight or flight response when you're dealing with quitting. So it just takes work, man. You got to find different areas of your life that you can work on. All right, guys, I'm going through the comments here. Let's see. How do you feel after 1 year quitting nicotine? Well, I feel really good. I feel really good about it. I mean, of course, I have my days where I might be up, I might be down, but all in all, I feel a heck of a lot better than when I was consuming nicotine. I have a lot more energy. My sleep is a lot better. My motivation is significantly improved. But that did not happen overnight. I can't emphasize that. That did not happen overnight. I've heard of NAC, and when it comes to cannabis cravings, yes, I am familiar with that. Here's my opinion on supplementation, Tropical Dan. Every time I would quit smoking weed, quit vaping, the first thing I would do is go out and I'd buy like a bunch of supplements. And I'd be like, oh, I'm going to detox. I'm going to buy all these supplements. I'm going to get healthy. Never helped me at the end of the day. My brain couldn't handle that. I just had to come to a point where I was like, Frank, you're just going to let your body do the work. You're going to let your body rid itself of this drug, and you're just going to drink water. And I really liked that because it was simple. I didn't have to worry about a supplement to take. I didn't have to overthink. So for me, getting into supplements always backfired. And I find that for a lot of people that we coach, a lot of people say, oh, I'm going to buy magnesium or this or that. And that's fine. There's benefits to those things. I have nothing against them. But I think we're focused on the wrong thing. If that's, at least I was, that's where all my brain power would go. My girlfriend was in the same boat for a while through CHS. We've come back and the symptoms came back up here and there. Yeah, it really helps with OCD symptoms, saved me many hours of anxiety and panic. That's awesome. So the NAC worked really well for you. So I could, eat everything I just said, and I'll just say that's awesome. That's awesome that worked well for you. Yeah, no one's alone in this struggle, guys. That's the biggest thing. When we're struggling with addiction has this weird way of making us think that our circumstance is unique. Like no one else is going through what I'm going through. No one else has the stress or the problems that I have. Addiction has a very weird way of manipulating our brains. And it's very important to understand that you're not alone. That's why I try and make these videos as relatable as possible for you guys, to let you know that if you're having an emotion related to addiction, chances are myself and thousands of other people have had that exact same emotion. And the good news is thousands of other people have figured out how to get through it. Um, how how do you feel physically after quitting nicotine? Well, I think I mentioned that. I feel a lot more energized. Physically, I'm a lot stronger. I mean, I am just now 3 years later, I'm making such strides in the gym, strides that I haven't made since I was in my early 20s. I'm 32 now, so it's amazing. 3 weeks off of nicotine and weed, suffering from CHS, called it anxiety. That's awesome. Thank you so much. I'm glad that I was able to help you and that you're finding support in this channel. Ask questions, Brandon. Ask questions. I don't know how long I'm going to be on. Please ask questions. Um, Ignited a fire within me to turn my life around. I see so much of myself in your previous addicted self. Day 3, keep going on quitting the weed pen. Yeah, guys, even though I don't personally know you, I understand you very well. Don't think for 2 seconds that I don't understand to an extent what it is you're struggling with and what it is you're going through. There's a good chance I've been through it. There's a good chance I had similar emotions. And hopefully you find some answers to some of the questions you have in my videos. That's awesome. And this is what quitting's about, Don. It's about turning your life around. Quitting has nothing to do with what you gave up. It has nothing to do with giving up nicotine, giving up weed. It's all about what you're getting back in life. And I don't know, I think it's an incredible high when you start to believe in yourself again and you start to realize what exactly it is you're capable of. Um, any tips for the first few days? I'm most scared of my sleep and what might come. I'm like stuck in a loop saying that I want to quit, and I always end up lying to myself the next day and repeating. So, for the first few days when you're going through withdrawal, just my advice is just buckle up and celebrate the withdrawal symptoms. Withdrawal is nothing more than the addiction leaving your body. So every time you feel withdrawal, ache, or pain, celebrate that and say to yourself, okay, I'm winning. This is my body detoxing. This is my body healing. And my advice would be don't fight it. The body's an incredibly resilient machine. And if you give it the tools it needs, sleep, decent nutrition, light to moderate exercise, try and keep your stress low the first few days. Although I guarantee you guys, when you first quit vaping or smoking weed, something's going to stress you out. That's just how our brains work when we first quit. Addiction likes to make a bigger deal of things that really aren't a big deal when we first quit. So watch out for that. And my thing would be just treat it like you have the flu. Treat it like you're sick for 2 weeks. Go easy on yourself. Don't be rough on yourself, and know that this is going to pass. That's my first thing. The second thing is start calling yourself out on the lies. When you go to pick up another one and you say, "Oh, just one more. Oh, just one more hit, just one more time." Call out your own BS. Say, "Wait a second, that's not true." Um 25 and smoking since you were 17. Yeah, I get it. Most of my followers are in their 20s to 30s. That's the most common age. 20 to 40, 25 to 40 is the most common age people try and quit, because when you're younger, you don't really feel all the side effects. You don't really feel what's happening mentally or physically. And then one day you wake up and it hits you like a truck. So I can definitely relate to that. Whenever I try and go to the gym, I get social anxiety. I feel like everyone looks at me like a junkie. Well, I don't know. I had really bad social anxiety towards the end of my cannabis addiction. And then for the first little bit when I quit, I had anxiety, but that eventually went away. For me, it wasn't so bad that I couldn't like go out in public. I was able to go out and do things. And I honestly just forced myself into those situations until I became comfortable again, learning how to reacclimate in society without a drug. And I'm not saying that's easy, and I'm not saying that that's something you should or can jump into. You might need some help, you might need some therapy, you might need some coaching, I don't know. But ultimately, for me, it was just putting myself in situations that were awkward and getting through them. Now, I want to say something about that. If you're quitting, understand something. You have the ability to handle challenging situations. If you're successfully have begun your quitting journey, you have something. You're worth that. Like that's a tough thing to do. So if you're able to do that, I don't think there's any reason you can't put yourself in other challenging situations, because you've already accomplished one challenging task. So yeah, anytime, Dr. Juan, anytime, guys. I'm drinking lots more. Yeah, guys, when it comes to smoking weed, and this isn't me saying this is a psychology type thing. It just seems for some people like they'll wind up partaking in other bad behaviors. When I'd smoke weed, immediately I would resort to nicotine, pornography, binge drinking, just really, really bad behaviors. And I really had a hard time stopping those other things uh, until I quit smoking weed. And once I quit smoking weed, those things became easier to stay away from. So my advice would be, work on quitting smoking weed, and maybe that will be important. Video of forgetting what it's like being sober, what you used to enjoy. Um, yeah, yeah. What about alcohol? Do you have to quit it all? Um, so I told people, guys, I would still occasionally drink alcohol. Alcohol for me was not a big issue. If alcohol for me was on the same level of a problem that weed and nicotine was, then yes, I would have not touched it again. For me, that was not the case. I stopped drinking for probably about 3 months when I quit weed and nicotine, because every time I drank, I would relapse on weed or nicotine. So I stopped for a while. And today, I really don't drink much, but if I were to, I don't have more than one or two drinks, which honestly is just a waste of money and health at that point. Vaping is harder to quit than cigarettes. Yeah, I think a lot of people feel that way. Obviously, vaping is nicotine salt, which is more addictive than free-base nicotine found in cigarettes to an extent. Vaping is easier to do, it's more accessible, and it also includes a technology addiction. So, yes, I would agree with you on that. I've lost so much weight from vaping Delta 8 and nicotine. I'm sick. I'm 86 pounds, using it as a crutch for dealing with grief and anxiety. Jennifer, here's my thing, Jennifer. Um, you're getting a lot of anxiety over the health situation that you're currently finding yourself in. So, Jennifer, understand, although it may be aiding in one aspect of the anxiety that you experience in your life, it's creating a whole nother world of problems and a whole nother subset category of anxiety. So when you look at this drug, Jennifer, and say it's helping me with my anxiety, or helping me deal with it, I don't know. I think it's actually adding another layer of anxiety to the already existing grief and anxiety. And Jennifer, there's phenomenal grief counselors out there. On our team, we have a psychologist. She is fantastic when it comes to helping people with grief. And you can go to any of my video descriptions, reach out to our offices, and I'd be happy to get you a session with her if you need. Okay. Um, yeah, if you experience psychosis, that you mean you have an underlying health condition. A lot of literature would say that if you have psychosis from weed, it might have been an underlying health condition. I can tell you with certainty, in the case of my situation, weed, especially the black market products, caused the psychosis. I did not have psychosis prior. I did not have an underlying health condition prior. Period. I am 1 billion% confident in that. Weed was responsible for my episode of psychosis and manic behavior and stuff. 100%. Um, it's THC, man. It binds to your brainstem. It binds to the cannabinoid 1 receptors in your brainstem. It just any drug that impacts dopamine production has the ability to cause that. Energy drinks alone, when consumed in too high amounts, have the ability to trigger an acute episode of psychosis. Oh, great question, Don. Do I recommend quitting all the vices at once? You're still vaping, you're nicotine, you're drinking, and you're still hitting the weed pen. My advice, Don, either kick the drinking or the weed first and work on the nicotine last. So first maybe quit weed, then quit drinking, then quit nicotine, or quit drinking and quit smoking weed, and then quit the nicotine. I think that's where most people have the success. Um, yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I want to be a healthy weight, but struggling with quitting vaping. I understand, Jennifer. I understand. But even in the thick of an eating disorder, I was 95 pounds. Jennifer, an amazing book that I would recommend you read is called Brain Over Binge. It's about binge eating disorders, but it really applies to most eating disorders. And that was the first book that I ever read, Brain Over Binge, that actually helped me to quit nicotine and quit a lot of these other bad things. So check out that book, Jennifer, Brain Over Binge. Yeah, I do think so, Tropical Dan. I do think it can be that the brain was so wired on THC, it threw off the natural chemical makeup surrounding dopamine. Sure, sure. Psychosis is horrible. It's horrible. Um, it doesn't make any sense. I know I just keep telling myself this time I will get that first high. Yeah, Red Goop, you know from my videos, there is no recreating that first high. It doesn't exist, especially once addiction sets in. And for any of those of you guys trying to quit that are struggling, I think one of the biggest reasons people struggle to quit smoking weed is because they spend time trying to chase after that first high. And you can't do that. Think about your last high, not your first high, because chances are they were two very, very different experiences. Jesse, convincing your friends to quit. The best thing you can do, when I'm actually making a video on this that I'm going to put out tomorrow about helping friends and family quit. So stay tuned for that. At the end of the day, man, all you can do is continue to be an example for them. If they want to talk to you, you can continue to be there to listen to them, not tell them what to do, but to listen to them and hear their concerns and let them work through it. Let them talk through it out loud. But Jesse, the best thing you can do is remain strong in your own recovery journey and show them that it's possible. I think the most inspiring thing about my channel personally isn't my advice on how to quit or this or that. I think it's honestly just being a living example for other people that quitting is possible, that a life beyond addiction is possible, and that amazing things, that you're capable of amazing things. I think it's amazing that there's 34 people in this live right now. I think it's amazing that there's 20,000 subscribers. If that's not a success story, I don't know what is. And I think people seeing other people's success in recovery can be very, very inspiring, maybe sometimes frustrating. Yeah. Nicotine itself, feeding addiction. You vape because you're stressed out. When you don't have the vape, it stresses you out more. That's absolutely right. It's a cycle. As Alan Carr would say, the creator of the book, The Easy Way to Quit Smoking, The Easy Way to Quit Vaping, it's like wearing a tight shoe. You wear a tight shoe all day long just to go home and take it off and say, oh, I feel relief. This is essentially what addiction is. I'm stressed. I'm stressed. I need nicotine. I'm stressed. I need weed. What are you stressed about? You're stressed because you have a craving. You're stressed because you need to feed that craving. You've just added an extra layer of addiction. I'm thinking it's hurting me as far as adult media content addiction goes. I think addiction to adult media content is so toxic. It's so toxic. Um, got off all those, but now I got eating disorders. How does that correlate? Devin, I'm not exactly sure. I know there's a correlation there, but Devin, I'm going to recommend the same book to you, the book Brain Over Binge for Eating Disorders. Maybe I'll make a book on that maybe I'll make a video on eating disorders for you guys, and I'll cover some of the topics in the book Brain Over Binge. Yes, stimulants. Yeah, very, very common to wind up with an eating disorder. Very, very common. I'm very heavy smoker on day 1.5, and it's hard. It is hard, Black Widow Spider. But you know what's amazing? You're in the process of accomplishing something that at one point you didn't think you were capable of. And Black Widow Spider, if you get through this and you prove to yourself that you're capable of accomplishing something that's hard, later on in life, when you face other hard challenges, when you face other hard tasks, you're going to be able to look back on this experience and you're going to be able to draw from the tools and the strengths that you developed while quitting this addiction. And you're going to be able to apply those to future scenarios. Not to sound like about myself, but like starting a YouTube channel was hard. Getting 38 of you guys on this live was really, really hard. Much harder than quitting an addiction. So, but how did I persevere? Why do I keep doing this? Because I know I'm capable of it, because I quit an addiction, something that I didn't think I was once capable of. I proved to myself I was. And that's one of the most rewarding feelings in the world about quitting an addiction, because I use that mindset now and it makes me unstoppable. Like I cannot be stopped unless unless I drop dead. So that's my thing. Totally. Some treatment treat all drugs as equal, and they say that you have to eliminate everything. That's true. Some places do say that. And I do think that I do think that you guys should. Okay, so I agree that most drugs are equal, but I don't know that quitting everything at once for everyone is always a good idea. I think quitting things and working on things in succession with one another is fine, but I think sometimes quitting everything at once can be a little bit overwhelming for someone. Thank you guys for the kind compliments. Thank you guys for sharing information in here with one another and putting people in a good direction. I love seeing this. I do believe, Bandino, that weed is stronger and harder to stop these days, especially because of the high concentration THC that we get in the cartridges. Smoking dry herb was a process. Hitting a cart takes no effort at all, just like hitting a vape takes no effort at all compared to smoking a cigarette. So, of course, symptoms of psychosis can vary pretty dramatically from person to person. You might have hallucinations. You might hear things that aren't really there. For me, it was a lot of visual disturbances. People's faces looked like blurry. I couldn't really make out what I was looking at times. Lots of anxiety associated with it. Lots of isolation associated with it. Many, many symptoms of psychosis. You might smell things that aren't there. Many, many symptoms. My sister gets high on carts and lies about her vaping and drug use and makes me mad. Um, so I understand Jose getting frustrated with people who lie, but Jose, I mean, this is part of addiction. That is truly part of addiction. Lying is a large part of that. And Jose, I don't think your sister wants to be lying. Okay. I don't think she wants to be doing that. And I would tell you this, if you're dealing with a friend or a family member who's struggling, who's lying about it, you're not dealing with that person that you know and love. You're dealing with addiction. You're dealing with a different animal. You're dealing with a different beast. And I'm going to be making a video on that for you guys tomorrow. But please understand that that's not your sister you're talking to. That's a drug. That's an addiction. And it's very, very hard. And remember, Jose, that addiction is going to do everything it can to protect itself and to maintain itself. And if that means lying to you, then so be it. Um, I can't smoke weed without tobacco wraps. You do have to cold turkey altogether in that case, yes. And you will go through nicotine and weed withdrawal, but that's fine. That's fine. Neither of those can kill you. They can make you miserable, guys, but none of this stuff can kill you. Do you have a list of books that I recommend reading? Alan Carr, The Easy Way to Quit Smoking. For those of you with eating disorders, Brain Over Binge is another great book on addiction recovery. um The Way of the Navy SEAL, it's a book on developing a mindset. The Alcohol Experiment is a fantastic book. Any of those will be good. um Dan, I don't do anything with psychedelics. I'm sure there's going to be benefits, just like there's benefits to weed, just like there's benefits to nicotine. Of course, there's going to be benefits to psychedelics. It's just not my thing. It just doesn't interest me personally. Um, yeah, I have links to the books in a lot of my videos, guys. If you read my video descriptions, I have some Amazon affiliate things set up. Yep. I started smoking again and don't really know where to go from here. It seems much harder to quit this time around. So you used all my tools to quit, and this time it seems harder. Well, Adam, there is not much else to tell you, Adam, except for you just have to do it. You have to put your foot down and you have to start being firm in your decision to quit. Because Adam, here's the thing now. You know the tricks, you know the tips, you know the mindsets. And I think, Adam, this is something that you should address sooner than later, because I think this becomes very dangerous once you see addiction for what it is. And once you really understand it and you continue to pursue it, I think that's a very dark place. And I was there, man. I did it for a year. I quit and then I went back to it. And the second time around, there was no more videos to watch. There was no more books to read. And this was like my millionth time around. If you took the big picture, it was just a matter of stopping. It was, I have to stop this. And Adam, how I maintain that now is I am fully invested in these other things. Instead of getting high tonight, I'm making a YouTube live. I am addicted to my business. I'm addicted to my hobbies. I'm addicted to my relationships. I'm addicted to things in life that matter to me. So, Adam, start filling that void with other things that you can get addicted to. Do I implement spiritual practice into my recovery? Um, yeah, I think they can be associated. I like the SMART method. I like AA. I like Rational Recovery, another great book by Jack Trimpey. I've read the Narcotics Anonymous book. I've been to Narcotics Anonymous meetings, and I've never been addicted to narcotics. My opinion on that, man. Spirituality, yes, it's a small extent of mine, but it's not a very large extent. It's just not. For some people, it is. For me, it's not, but that's okay. We all have our own way of going about things. Um, okay. Yeah, nicotine does mess up your appetite. Absolutely, Jennifer. It doesn't help. The nicotine doesn't help. No, you're absolutely correct. Um, yeah, saying it's not that big of a deal. So I think you have to be realistic of yourself. If you're addicted to something and you're sitting around saying, oh, it's not that big of a deal, have a list on hand of all the reasons as to why it is a big deal. You wouldn't be in my live if it wasn't a big deal. You wouldn't be on my channel if it wasn't a big deal. You need to get real with yourself and you need to understand, why is it a big deal? And so maybe it's because it's hurting your health. Maybe it's because it's hurting your finances. Maybe it's hurting your relationships. What you need to do is you need to start going and pursuing making those things better. And as you grow your healthy relationships, as you grow your hobbies, as you grow in this recovery process, you're actually building a fortress kind of around this being sober. And what happens is over time, you're going to have like walls. You're going to be in like a protected castle. And in order for addiction to come back in, you would have to tear down all these walls and all these beautiful things that you've set up. And that's I don't know how I got on that tangent, but that's what I do to protect my kind of sobriety and stuff. I'm constantly adding on to my responsibilities in life, adding on to my disciplines, adding on to my hobbies. I'm building a huge buffer between me and relapse. So I want to smoke right now. So I I I understand. I'm sure a lot of people want to smoke right now. I'm sure a lot of people want to do that. But again, if you're addicted and you're trying to quit, is that you talking or is that addictive voice in your brain talking? The biggest problem with addiction is we're continuing to do something that we no longer want to do anymore. And this is what makes addiction such a draining, fatiguing, horrid process. Being forced to do something you no longer want to be doing anymore. If you can accept that you don't want to do this anymore, you won't want to smoke. If you can truly see that there is no benefit, that it's only a perceived benefit, it's a facade created by addiction, quitting becomes much easier. Best self-help books, I'll say them again. It's The Easy Way to Quit Smoking by Alan Carr, Brain Over Binge, a book on eating disorders, The Way of the Navy SEAL, a great book on building a good mindset, Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers, an incredible book on dealing with anxiety, Virtue, congratulations on 71 days vape free. Big props. Big props. What's going on, guys? Okay, let's see here. But can you get into sugar addiction? Yeah, definitely. I actually do a lot with sugar addiction, and I will make videos on that for you guys. It's like, guys, whether I'm talking about sugar, nicotine, THC, at the end of the day, a lot of my videos, you could watch any video on my channel and just replace the word nicotine with sugar, replace the word weed with nicotine or weed with alcohol. At the end of the day, it's all a very similar thing. But yes, I am going to get into sugar addiction on my channel. Sugar is a horrible thing, and trust me, I eat sugar. Like I'm not like perfect in that lane, but I definitely have done a lot better. Okay. Let's see here. Thanks, Jennifer. What's good, guys? What's good, guys? Anytime, happy to help you guys quit. Weed is illegal in certain places. Yeah, they do ads all the time on stuff. Vapes will ease depression, this and that. Yeah, it's all just marketing, guys. We've all, anyone here has probably fallen for the marketing at one point or another. When THC is released from body fat during detox and withdrawal, does the body react to it? I do think that is a reasonable thing that occurs during THC detox, Dan. Dave says he doesn't think so. And guys, I don't have like a factual thing on that. I can just tell you when I was quitting weed, if I would do really intense exercise, I would actually feel like sick and high afterwards, but not in a good way, not in like an exercise high, in a bad way. So that's my thing. I don't even get excited trying a new strain and only buy mint vapes. Yeah, Jennifer, you're in the grips of addiction, Jennifer. Jennifer, you got to sit down and you got to get really clear on the reasons why you want to quit. And then you have to write out the reasons why you continue to use the substance. And I think you're going to find that those are two very contradicting categories. A lot of times, the very reasons why a person continues to use it, because they think that it helps with stress, they think it helps with anxiety, they think they enjoy the process of it. a lot of those things are just lies that addictive voice in our brain is telling us. Um, what is Delta 8 doing to the brain and the body? Tropical Dan, I don't have a great answer to that about Delta 8. I just know we have so many people calling our offices, emailing me, DMing me, having bad experiences with Delta 8. And Dan, I'm going to tell you why we don't know exactly what's going on. THC has been a Schedule 1 substance for years. And when you have something that's a Schedule 1 substance, it limits the research funding on it. And Delta 8, there's so many products out there. We don't have a research paper on the Delta 8 cart from your local gas station and how that interacts in your body. That doesn't exist. So, and that's, guys, my pet peeve with a lot of this stuff. So we don't actually know. Like, we don't know what's going on in your brain long term. We don't have the studies on it because it's been federally illegal to study that. So I hope that helps. I have really bad depression. I want to find a solution just to see if it can go away. Soybean. So, like, I'm going to be very blunt with you. That to an extent, nicotine does help to relieve depression. That's okay. Like, I'm going to be honest with you guys, and at a small point, okay, like eating a piece of sugar can help to relieve depression because you get a serotonin boost. But here's what happens. You then become addicted to the vape or the cigarette or the chewing tobacco. You then start to experience health consequences physically or mentally, and the depression becomes significantly worse because now not only do you have the depression that was there before because you never really sorted through it, but you now have the depression of dealing with the consequences of addiction. So let me be very, very, very clear on that. Yeah, people get really messed up things. I don't know why. It's way harder than just regular weed or even Delta 9. Yeah, I don't know why it's so much harder, guys. I don't know what that is. I don't know exactly how it's interacting with the cannabinoid receptors. I don't know, but I can tell you at the end of the day, quitting is quitting. And guys, I want you guys to be free from this craze. There's always going to be a Delta 9, a Delta 10, a THC acetate. I don't care. I want you guys to be free. I want you guys to be worried about, like Jose says, making those money moves. I want you guys to be worried about whatever you're into, your faith, your relationships, your physical health. I want you guys to be passionate about something else in life that's going to move your future in a positive direction. That's where I want to see you guys. I don't want you guys getting wrapped up in the next vape shop hype or the next hype at your local gas station. You guys deserve better than that. They train you to be a consumer. You guys are I'm up against this channel, this community. We're up against billions of dollars of very high level marketing, sophisticated stuff that we're constantly being bombarded with. On top of seeing our favorite celebrities smoke, our favorite influencers smoke. So we're constantly being trained to consume. And guys, if you spend the rest of your life being a consumer, I promise you, you're going to be depressed at the end of the day. That's a major source of depression. I want you guys to be producers. I want you guys to be creating things for your lives and making something of yourself, making something that you can be happy of and proud of for yourselves. And I know you're all capable of it. I know you are. I wouldn't say this if I didn't think you were, because you've created something for yourself in addiction. You've put in the hard work. You've put in the perseverance. You've put in the grit. You have every tool, every quality, every trait that you need to be a success. You really do. I need you guys to escape this world that they've wrapped you up in. And the beautiful thing is you can just walk away. You can walk away at any moment. You can leave this live and you can be done with it. Okay? You can be done with it. But I need you. I need you to do that. I can't do it for you. My videos can't do it for you. I can help. I can talk you through it, but yeah. Um, Okay. I feel like Delta 8 test dummy. It's concerning. So willing to consume something I don't eat. Jennifer, that's addiction, though. We'll consume anything. I would consume anything when I was addicted. Yeah, I actually think you're right, Tropical Dan. I do think a lot of it has to do with the cultivation of Delta 8, but I don't want to be quoted on that because I don't know. But Dan, I think you're correct. You're correct. Um, ACA or OCPD. Brandon, I don't. But again, I have a psychologist on my team who is very well versed in that, Brandon. And I'd always be more than happy to put you in touch with her. She does Zoom calls. 16 days, special numbers. Congrats. Do I feel any of those inner voices talking to us, pushing you towards your old addictions? So anytime I get a craving now, I interpret a craving as nothing more than energy. It's energy, right? Because when I would get a craving for nicotine or weed, it was an energy. Okay, I got to go get weed. I got to go get nicotine. How am I going to find it? I'm going to text my plug. I'm going to get in my car. It's midnight. I'm going to go meet him somewhere. I'm going to get home. I'm going to smoke it. I'm going to stay up. Blah, 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 blah. It's energy. So when I get a craving, I put that energy into something else. And guys, I got a lot of energy. I got energy for days, energy for days. So I use that energy now to create YouTube videos, to do lives, to interact and develop my relationship with my wife. I use that energy in a positive way. That's how I deal with those voices. And if I hear those voices, I call out the BS. I say, no, Frank, that's bullshit. That's that addictive voice in your brain talking. And it's up to you what you're gonna do with that. So you want to be addicted to something, keep growing your YouTube, keep growing your business, keep growing your health, go work out. That's how I function. I'm like, I am insane. I mean, I am crazy. Um, okay. That's another issue. There's so many vapes and smoke shops around too. Allison, that's okay. There's always going to be vapes and smoke shops around, Allison. There's always going to be those things around. Always, always, always. They're always going to be around. Who cares? Who cares? There's nothing in there for you, Allison. I tell myself when I pump gas, there's nothing in a gas station that I need. There's nothing in there that's worth my money or my time. There's nothing in there. Um, it was more than choosing to not get high. Yeah, yeah, Tropical Dan, of course. Of course. Underlying trauma, huge role in addiction. Huge, huge role, Dan. Of course. Absolutely. Absolutely. Dan, I understand that not feeling like you're good enough. I think I still deal with that to an extent, and I get help for these things, but I think it's something I still deal with. Dan, so I'm constantly proving to myself that I am. I'm constantly proving to myself that I'm capable, right? By creating new things and building new things. Brandon, putting you in contact with them. Brandon, go to any of my YouTube videos. My email is Dr. DRFRANKHERE at gmail.com. Anyone who wants to get in touch, but guys, working with me or my team, there is a charge for it. It costs money. I want to be clear. Go there and just email me or reach out, and I will put you in touch with whomever you need to be in touch with. Okay. All right. Um, I don't know how much the psychologist uh cost. I want to say she's around $150 for a session. I think that's the case. Insurance, she does take some insurances, so there might be a chance there, but it's worth it. Like I mean, if you're spending the money on drugs, it's worth spending the money on getting yourself better. So for me, that's a no-brainer. If I feel better, I'm going to make that money back in the blink of an eye. So, yeah, don't go into smoke shops. I feel like having no one around me makes me want to get high because I'm lonely. Top Q, I have a question for you. Is getting high keeping you isolated? And is that preventing you from making the connections? So do you get what I'm saying? Is getting high creating the isolation, and is that why you're lonely? Top Q, you might be surprised at just how social you become over the course of 3 months, a year, 2 years after you quit. I never thought I'd be on here I mean, I knew deep down I would be, but even when I was messed up, I knew I was going to be helping people one day. I love helping people. I think you'll surprise yourself, Top Q, but I don't think Top Q, being high makes you content with being lonely, is what it does. It doesn't prevent the loneliness. It doesn't cure the loneliness. It makes you content with being lonely. Just like getting high doesn't cure boredom, it makes people content with being bored. Okay. What do I think of Mudameds? I don't care if it's a medical grade cart, a black market cart. All I care about is addiction. So I have no opinion on a particular brand. I don't care what someone's smoking. I'm sorry, I don't. I'm sorry, that's not the answer you're looking for. I don't care what it is. All I care about is addiction. That's all I care about. Okay. Thoughts on and I should make a video. I should make a video about isolation and loneliness. Thoughts on having character deficits and how to realize them and change them. Well, Brandon, I couldn't change anything until I got sober, right? Like it wasn't until I got sober that I was forced to acknowledge my character deficits, and then I was forced to work on those character deficits. So the irritability, the anger, the lack of impulse control, all of these things, right? It wasn't until I was clear-headed enough and confident enough in myself, which I gained that confidence through quitting the addictions, that I could then go work on my character deficits. And I don't know if that relates to what you were asking me, but I think it does. So that's how I had to handle them. I had to get sober first and then work on those things. Okay. I need to quit today. Actress singer, welcome to day 1. Today's day 1. Stop back on day 3. Let me know how you're doing. It's that easy. Guys, we build up so much fear about quitting, failing to acknowledge that we also have a fear of continuing. Actress singer, if you want to reduce a lot of fear, quit today. Don't drag this out, and stop back on my channel in 3 days. I'll look for your comments. Comment on a video. Let me know how you're doing. Big Potato, quitting 5 days ago. Props. Tari Q, I understand you already smoked today. You can still quit tonight. If maybe you don't smoke tonight, and maybe now you've done 1% better today than you did yesterday. That's progress, my friend. Don't throw away progress just because you already smoked today. That doesn't make sense. That'd be like losing 30 pounds and saying, "Oh, I already ate cake today, so I'm just going to gain back 30 pounds." Like that would not make sense. I quit smoking, Jake. 1 month. Big congrats, Jack. Big congrats, Jack. Relapsing. Watch my videos on relapse. Watch it. Edge. Psychological addiction is stronger than the physical. Of course it is. Of course the psychological is stronger. Edge. Edge, for me, I read Alan Carr's book too, and I actually quit for a while after that, and then I relapsed. Edge, did you ever start to pursue other things? So it's one thing to read his book and get the mindset on quitting, but the only way, in my opinion, to cure one addiction is to replace it with another addiction. I hate to say that, but it's true. Everyone who has been an addict and who has been successful in their sobriety has created another passion or another addiction for themselves. And in my opinion, addiction is passion. Addiction is obsession. Okay. So Edge, did you ever find that other passion? Did you ever find that other obsession? That would be my question. That would be my question. 1 week clean from the THC, all because of this channel. Big props, Aaron Wolf. Big props. Blessings to you too, my man. Big, big props, Jay. Big props, guys. Big props. Can you talk about the heavy metals and flour? So yeah, guys, this is something honestly I'm well aware of them. It's something I need to do more research on before I start blabbering about it. But I do know that heavy metals, especially in carts, is a legitimate risk, especially in the black market ones. And I believe a lot of times when people are quitting, to an extent, they may be facing some degree of a heavy metal detox and a pesticide detox. I think that's very realistic. Jack, thank you. I really appreciate that, man. Chase them now. Chase those new beginnings, man. It's so cool. I tell everyone in this channel, for those of you guys who are struggling to quit, you deserve to see what's on the other side of this coin. You deserve to give yourself the chance to see what you're capable of, because addiction will never give you that opportunity. Addiction is too greedy to give you a chance of success at anything else, because the only thing addiction cares about, the only thing that addictive voice in your brain cares about, is feeding and preserving itself. And you guys deserve better than that. You deserve to give yourself the opportunity to see what's on the other side of that coin. I guarantee you that each and every one of you in this live are capable of incredible things, because you have dragged yourself through an incredibly challenging addiction. Most people don't got what it takes. Most people don't get addicted to smoking because it's hard. It sucks to force yourself to do something you don't want to do every day. Okay? So you guys have the grit. You have the endurance. You deserve to use that towards your benefit. David Lopez, I feel hopeless. David Lopez, watch my video on anhedonia. I will never be as I was with the weed. Is there a possibility that I will never be well again? No, David, man, you're in the grips of withdrawal right now. This is addiction talking, my friend. You are, and I'm glad you're here, David, because I'm here to tell you that's complete bull. That is not true. That is not true, David. Not at all. Not at all true. David, did I work with you personally at one point? Are you from New York? Did you come into my offices at one point? I think you might have. I don't know though. You could just be someone with the same name. But that's not true, man. That's addiction talking. That's not you talking. Don't fall for that. It wants you to think that way, because that's going to lead you back into it. You have to call out those lies. You have to call them out. Whenever I quit, I go hard at the gym and MMA. It's really good. And I go for months. But then when I follow the gym or MMA, I tend to pick up smoking again. It makes complete sense. A lot of people, okay, Tarek, okay, putting all your time into physical fitness. Here's the thing. If you get an injury and your sobriety solely relies on physical fitness, you're in trouble. So for me, physical fitness is one of many aspects. This is what I was talking about, building a fortress to protect my sobriety and my recovery process. Physical fitness is just a small piece. YouTube is just another small piece. My relationship with my now wife is just a small piece, right? Faith is just a small piece. You need to layer on top of physical fitness, because God forbid you're in a car accident and you can't go to the gym for a few months. Does that mean you're going to relapse? God forbid I lost, say YouTube crashed and I lost all my YouTube following. Does that mean I'm going to relapse? No, it's just one small piece. And you have to add all of these little small pieces together to protect that sobriety and recovery process that you've created. Okay. Yeah, Jennifer, I'm happy to help. Jennifer, we have an incredible community here. You're always welcome to come on here and comment. And Jennifer, we have amazing people here. Drop comments on videos. If I see them, I'll pin them for you. And people will reach out. They'll work with you. They'll help you. Playful highlights. You guys, again, if you really need help and you have the money, because it does cost me money to do all this, you can schedule one-on-one consultations. We have group coaching. You can find the links to all of these things in my video descriptions and the pinned comments in my videos. And every video description has a link to a free course on quitting. David, you'll be a much happier. That fear becomes hilarious when you reach the goal. That's so true. That fear of, will I ever be normal again after I quit? I think the bigger fear is, what will you be like if you don't quit? What will life be like if you continue down this path? I'd rather gamble on the other side of that. I'd rather gamble and see what life looks like if I quit, because I know addiction for me sucked. I know the outcomes of addiction. I've tried it. I've been down that road. I've beat that to a stump. I know the outcome. I don't know the outcome of my continued sobriety and recovery. I am so excited to find out, though. I am so excited to see what addiction mindset becomes 10 years from now. And Dr. Juan, you said something very, very important. One day at a time. My goal every day is to be 1% better than I was yesterday. 1% better than I was yesterday. Every 100 days, if I can do that, I'm 100% better than I was 100 days ago. That's pretty damn good. And that's not hard. When you have an addiction like I did, when you're chewing tobacco, smoking weed, watching adult media content, binge drinking, it's not hard to do 1% better than all of that. Like, not hard, right? Penthouse Jesse, that's what's up. You're going to be firm in your decision, Penthouse Jesse. You made a choice right now. You threw it out, trash it, make sure it's gone. So you can't go back after 2 hours after this live and your motivation dies down. Be firm, man. One of the key things to quitting an addiction is making the decision and being firm in the decision. If there's any wavering for any reason, we have to figure out what that is, and we need to expel it, because that wavering is going to throw you off. Okay. Do I recommend quitting weed and nicotine? Well, yeah, of course I do. I usually recommend quitting weed first. I think it will make quitting the nicotine easier. Tropical Dan, I don't drink any caffeine. I damaged my body to an extent where I cannot tolerate any caffeine. I cannot drink any caffeine, or I get neuropathy. I get numbness and tingling in my hands and feet. It's from abusing pre-workout products, energy drinks, nicotine. I fried my nervous system a long time ago. So I cannot drink coffee. I cannot drink it. But I like it. Oh my God. Red Goop 89. People say all the time, weed is a plant, and it is a plant. And people say weed is a medicine, and it is a medicine. That doesn't mean anything. Opium is from an opium plant. Heroin, opium, cocaine, nicotine is from the tobacco plant. It makes no sense. That logic makes no sense. There's benefits to nicotine. There's benefits to opium. There's benefits to cocaine. I hate to say it, there is. I'll be honest. That doesn't mean it's good for you, though, right? Especially once an addiction develops. So I agree with you, Red Goop. It's a weird cop-out. I don't recommend any supplements when quitting. For me, I do not recommend this to clients. You can do it, go for it. Personally, I don't recommend any supplements, really. I don't think it's worth it. Yeah. IQOS, Ben, I knew that you'd be asking me about that. Ben is, guys, can we all take a minute and appreciate Ben Newman? He is one of my favorite people on YouTube. This individual, Ben, has been here literally since I think I had 100 subscribers on here, maybe less. He is like so supportive, and I just want good things for Ben, because Ben is, I got this guy's back. He's one of my favorite people on here. Ben, I'm going to make a whole video on it for you. I get what they're doing. It's a low heat cigarette. It heats it to a lower temperature, in theory, making less carcinogens. I don't buy it, man. I don't buy it. I think just try and quit cigarettes. And I think a lot of people, Ben, when they try it, they're not really happy with it. They're like, this sucks. Give me a real cigarette. That's my opinion. 16 days, Mario. Congratulations. David, keep trying. Keep trying. Keep trying. David, the depression, David, here's the deal. Start working on it, man. Get down to it. Why are you depressed? What's going on there? Like, work with someone, work through that, because David, that might be a key part to your quitting process. I'm having random getting x-rays on Monday. Yeah, definitely get x-rays. I'm pretty certain it's not cancer, big potato. But yeah, it's very, very common for your lungs to hurt after you quit. This is very common. Some people cough up literally like black crap when I swear to God, I've seen this. And we always, if someone's coughing stuff up like that, always getting them an x-ray, maybe a CAT scan. But yes, very, very, very common. JB Monroe, the producer, that means a lot. Thank you. Thank you. 1%. Yeah. Yeah, David. Yeah, we're all praying for you, man. We all got your back, man. Quitting dip for a month, but relapsed and we'll try again. Yeah, Wind Blazer. I have tips on dip specifically. Email me, drfrankhere@gmail.com. You can find that email in all the video descriptions. I will send you some specific stuff on dip, and I'm going to make specific videos on dip. I keep relapsing with weed to use it as it's a distraction from making very difficult life choices. Patrick, one of the most difficult choices you're going to make in your life is whether or not you're going to continue down the path of addiction. No choice potentially will have more severe consequences. So Patrick, by choosing to continue with weed, if it's been a negative impact in your life and if you're struggling with addiction, you are making probably one of the most difficult choices of all, and that's continuing to pursue an addiction. So Patrick, please don't be fooled, man. It's not a distraction from making other choices. Addiction is making a choice for you. Something else is now dictating the rest of your choices going forward, as long as you maintain that addiction. So please keep that in mind. Please. Yeah, Jack, lots of videos here, man, on weed. Congratulations on quitting cigarettes, quitting weed. Jack, you got the tools. You've been here before. You know what you're doing. Okay, you've been here before. Allison's asking about cocaine, saying it's toxic and poison. And Allison, you're right, but cocaine is an amphetamine based thing. It's a stimulant based thing. And for some people, there is benefits to stimulants. Now, I would never tell anyone to take cocaine. I would never say take cocaine. The negative side effects are so much more serious. The negative side effects of cocaine greatly outweigh the positives. But remember, like, if we look at Adderall, an amphetamine-based stimulant, that's essentially cocaine for someone with ADHD. Not exactly, but you get my gist. So any category of amphetamines can have a benefit. Lots of bad things can have benefits. When we cross over to addiction, or even arguably in recreational use in the state of cocaine, the negatives greatly outweigh any benefits. I like to be honest about a conversation. I like to be honest about a conversation. Okay. Oh, a donation button. Yeah, I'm trying, guys. They really won't let me. I don't have enough followers. Then stop sniffing weed and tobacco and it went away. Yeah. Yeah. How the fuck is weed and vapes cocaine and heroin? I don't think I said it was. Blood pressure. Yes, very normal to see an increase in blood pressure after quitting both nicotine and or weed, especially weed. Weed, we have cannabinoid receptors on our cardiac tissue, and our endocannabinoid system plays a role in regulating cardiac functions. And some people do see blood pressure problems after quitting. Jim, keep an eye on this. Speak to your physician. After time, it should go away. Review you. Great to see you. Great to have you on the live. Oh, yeah. Tropical Dan, I think I've made videos about no longer identifying myself with weed. At the end of the day, man, I created a Tropical Dan, a whole new identity for myself. This is my new identity. Dan, I had to change to an extent the person that I was, because if I went back to the exact same person I was before I quit, uh, before I started smoking weed, I would eventually relapse because that person got addicted to weed. So I didn't want to go back to the same person I was. I had to create a better identity, a better version of the person that I was. Okay. I does that make sense? How can I cope with anxiety ASAP? Review you ASAP. Download the book or get the book, Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers. Get the book, Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers. That is my number one tip. Or review, look up some Jordan Peterson YouTube videos on dealing with anxiety, but get that book. It's a great book. Yeah, Penthouse Jesse, get a one-on-one. It's not cheap. It has a money back guarantee. You can find the links for the one-on-ones in all my video descriptions, all my pinned comments. You can email me, you can text me, we can set that up. What's the number one reason you should quit vaping or any addiction? To prove to yourself that you are capable of accomplishing something you didn't think you were capable of. That's the number one reason why you should quit any addiction, because the confidence that it develops, the sense of pride that it develops, can make you unstoppable in the things that you pursue in life. And trust me, when people quit, when they really try, when they really put in the work, they start to pursue other things. I've been sober probably going on about 4 years now. I'm pushing 4 years now. I don't have an exact date or anything like that, guys. I didn't count the days. I didn't count the days. So I need to figure out if I'm shy with traumatic, discouraging thoughts, or if I need to be on an anxiety medication instead of self-medicating. Jennifer, please reach out. Talk to our psychologist. She doesn't prescribe. And guys, I'm not saying, oh, quit weed and get on a medication. That's not what I'm saying. I'd much rather see you guys figure this out without medications, without any drugs. Okay. So Jennifer, please reach out. Let's try and get you set up with that person. Big Papa, I'm glad I'm helping you. Yeah, Big Papa, a relapse. I think there's a lot of misunderstanding on what a relapse is. As a good friend of mine, the creator of I don't personally know him, but he's a good dude. Beyond Sober, Beyond Sober is his program. And what you had, Big Papa, was you had a lapse in your sobriety. A relapse would be going back to the worse than you were before when you were addicted. So the fact that you relapsed and then stopped, you're not worse than you were before right now, unless I'm missing something. So my man, you had a lapse in your sobriety. You didn't have a relapse, right? I hope that makes sense. Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers, incredible book. Weed helps me map out my life and I'm more impulsive sober. How can I replicate that self-introspective vibe that weed gives me? How did I replicate that? Damn, I don't know, man. I replicated that. I'm going to be honest, through tons of self-help books. I've read so many self-help books. That's how I did it. Learning techniques from them. Yeah, Red Goop, great question. Could very well be withdrawal. No, it was no longer fun for me at all. That's addiction, doing something that you hate because you can't stop. Smoking weed felt like a chore. It felt like an obligation. There was no joy in it. And if anything, it robbed all of the things in life that did bring me joy from me. That is addiction. Jennifer, no, I feel broken without taking something. Let's think about this. I feel broken without taking something. That feeling is created by addiction, because if we don't address the addiction and you don't have something, you feel like a big part of you is missing. And to an extent it is, because addiction has been a large part of your life. So when that something is removed, of course you feel broken. you've become accustomed to having that something. So, Jennifer, for you, we really have to figure out, what are we going to fill that void with? What are we going to change? How are we going to change that? What are we going to pursue? I hope that makes sense. The real satisfaction experience, that might be depression, it might be anhedonia. I'm not exactly positive what that is. I gotta check some text messages here, guys. I'm getting okay, I gotta look at these. Okay. I'm gonna have to go here shortly. Yeah, Jennifer, religion is a great opportunity. Yeah, you'll feel normal again, Bianca. You'll feel normal. You'll get there, Bianca. I promise. It takes time. You got to try and aim for the 90-day mark. You gotta aim for that 90-day mark. 9 weeks. Yeah, 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 yeah. Guys, I gotta go to bed. Um, yeah, guys, experience. I'm sorry, but I'd be happy to be everyone's sponsor, and maybe one day I can do private things for free if we get donations going and I make enough money through that on the channel. But for right now, I gotta charge for my services because this is how I make a living. This is how I feed my family. And I have a lot of free content on here for you guys. So that's the best I can do. But if you want to do a session with me, video descriptions, pinned comments. There's links there to set up private sessions and all those things. So, you guys, I had a lot of fun. I'll do this again as soon as I can. Check out the group coaching, check out the private sessions. They all have money back guarantees, guys. We got this. Marijuana Anonymous, Dan, great call. I have links to their website and a lot of my videos, guys. Marijuana Anonymous for a sponsorship. Thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you, guys. All right, guys. I'll talk to everyone later. Bye-bye now.